I do think that the fact that we're both wearing grayish, blackish shirts and jeans is a sign from God that this is supposed to happen.
I half thought, should I wear like a button-down shirt?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no.
No, not on Monday morning.
Not on Monday morning.
If this was like a Thursday,
yeah,
right? Or like if you had a meeting after this, then maybe.
Yeah.
But this is just...
I did throw one in the car.
Yeah.
Just in case I came in, because you had a blazer phase for a minute there.
Never for a sit-down interview.
Not for a podcast.
Yeah.
But I did think about it.
And when the winter comes, the blazers will come back out.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's more of like a way not to wear a jacket.
I got you. Is that not a jacket?
Like, yeah. So a jacket that you have to take on and off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're fancy when you're in the parking lot and you're fancy when you're in the building.
Right. Okay. And then the other part is, I don't know if you struggle with this, but when I take off winter jackets, I forget them and I leave them everywhere.
I don't know. Okay, hold on. Baby, you got to not make any noise. We're doing a podcast.
Actually, it's kind of great, her chuckling in the background. Now that I think about it, I think that actually adds to the...
If you want to chuckle, you can, but you can't talk to us, okay?
You can't talk. Anyway, so I leave them everywhere, like water bottles. Yeah. I can't ever keep a water bottle. And that's why I only drink disposable, which probably irritates a lot of people, but yeah, I don't care. And so that's how I live my life. If it's on me, it's not coming off.
I'm a reusable water bottle person.
Well, you have the mental capacity.
Well, I don't know. But I do a lot of little things. Like when I first got married, Jess and I had a big disagreement over where the wallet and the keys would go, because I have to keep my wallet with my keys.
Yeah.
Because if I don't keep my wallet with my keys, I will leave without my wallet. But I can't leave without my keys.
It's impossible.
You can't. You can't.
You hit a true wall with that. You're like,
unless you're running to work.
Yeah.
And so I know that I won't forget my wallet if it stays with my keys.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think last point about this, because we probably should move on, is if I had more retractable things that come out of my pocket to keep things attached to me, I could do a water bottle. I could do a jacket you take off, but that's a whole level
I'm just trying to figure out what you even mean by that.
You know, like people put their ID card at work on like a retractable.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking like wallet chains, because when I was a kid, we had wallet chains.
It's like that, but it retracts back to you.
I see. Like a tape measure.
Yes.
For your keys.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fancy.
If I did that, then I could probably handle more stuff.
Would you have more than one retractable thing?
Be like the Spider-Man of stuff.
You just pull this one out, pull that one out.
Exactly. Anyways, this is Chris Riley, Pastor Chris Riley, pastors Breath of Heaven in Jamestown. They planted out a First Church about 2 years ago, roughly.
Yeah, a little over.
Yeah. And so I think I've told you, but we do a class for people who feel called to preach or called to plant.
I've watched some of them.
You have?
The
awesome.
videos, yeah.
Yeah, I just posted one this morning.
Sweet.
Give it a look.
I will.
And then what I have to say, like and subscribe. That's how you do this professionally. Like and subscribe. So
it's very good if you're thinking about checking it out. You should.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so I wanted to get you on specifically to talk about the pitfalls of church planting, because you're 2 years in. You're in a smallish town, small town, for sure small town, definitely compared to most cities in America. But your growth has been astronomical, very fast. If you're looking at percentage of people coming, it's been very fast.
So it was very encouraging when you say that.
Yeah, and I love to look at percentages. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So that's worth noticing and talking about. And so I wanted to bring you on here and just let you share some wisdom, and also ask you some tough questions that might help other church planters in their journey. So, Chris, when did this really become a burden in your heart to plant a church in Jamestown?
The long short answer is and maybe I'll say this because it might actually be helpful for someone. Mm-hmm. Before we moved to Tennessee, we've been in Tennessee for 11 years. Yeah. And so just before we moved here, we had helped take over a youth group that we didn't want to help with.
Yeah.
But there were some issues with the youth pastor and whatever. And so my wife and I jumped in with another couple.
Yeah.
And so we led that. It was the first time I had ever like preached on any scale and started teaching a little bit and whatever. And I felt like I had the seed of an idea of planting a church.
Yeah.
And it was
buried down in there.
It was so short-lived, I never even told my wife about it.
Ooh,
and
wow.
So I had about a day or two that I contemplated this idea. And I feel like the Lord really planted the seed then.
Yeah.
And I had this thought, and it was like, what if we got, and you know our story, so it's interesting. It's like, what if we got a cool old building in our downtown, but this is in Florida.
Okay.
This is all
This is incredible.
We got a cool old building in downtown, started a church, and we did it the way we wanted to do it.
Wow.
And that was my thought.
Yeah.
And so...
And this is hilarious if you know where they are now. By the way.
Yeah, and how God actually fixed that last part that I just said.
Yeah.
So I ended up listening to a teaching by a guy, or just a message. And in the message, the guy said, so many people want to preach and be pastors, but what if instead of rushing to do that, you go build history with God, so when it's time for you to speak, you actually have something to say?
That's pretty wise.
Hit me like an arrow in the heart, and I was like, that was a word for me.
Yeah.
This isn't going to happen,
Yeah.
at least not now.
Yeah.
And so I shut it down, never even got to the point of talking to my wife about it.
Yeah.
Fast forward 9-ish years from then, almost a decade.
A decade of carrying this burden or this seed of a burden in your heart.
I never thought about it again.
Yeah.
I mean, buried it. Like, planted the seed, killed it.
Wow.
And I totally forgot about it. To the point where even when you said you need to start preaching on your worship nights, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I had no desire at all. And I forgot about that.
And just for context, they had already had a group of like 30 people gathering on Friday nights to do worship.
It depends. Sometimes it was like 5.
Yeah.
The
range was
on the
2
night.
to 30.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes none. Literally at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy gives you this word, and it just upends you. 9 years.
I just ran a message I heard online. Yeah. So, but it hit me, and I knew, okay, just kill it, and didn't really think about it at all until after we had years of worship nights, bought an old building, completely renovated it, moved into planting a church, and then I remembered the word like a few weeks into Sunday mornings. Wow, God, you actually planted that seed in my heart a decade ago.
Wow.
Killed it.
Yeah.
And then took me through a crazy process to where now, when we actually went to plant the church, my whole thing was like, we got this old building in downtown, not knowing we were planting a church.
Come on.
We started a church, and our whole thing behind it now is like, what if we do it the way God wants it?
Yeah. Come on. So how important do you think that 9-year development process waiting period was leading up to you actually doing?
Massive, because it went from the shift of like any seed that I believe the Lord plants. Like when you feel called to something, you're stoked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go do it. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to be on stage. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do that thing. And then by the time you actually step into the thing, generally, by the time you get to whatever it is, you sense the responsibility of what you're doing.
Right.
You want to really lean into the Lord's heart because you realize the damage that it could cause if you are doing it out of your own ambition.
Yeah.
Like the Lord will take you through the process necessary. Think of Joseph, think of David, all of the scriptures.
So good.
The seed is planted, the anointing is given, so to speak. And then there's a process that actually prepares you to be able to walk into it.
That grows you to the person you're supposed to be to carry the vision.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. So now that you're 2 years in, which is, it's, and by the way, like any church plant needs about 5 years for the roots to really settle in and for the church to really make, I don't want to say meaningful because you're already making meaningful impact in your community, but really become a lighthouse to a community. It takes about 5 years.
Yeah.
But let's say you're halfway through that 5-year period. In these 2 years, what things were you naive about going into planting a church that you're now like, oh, I get that. I see that now.
Oh, man.
Is there too many things to
Yeah, can you ask that more detailed?
Yeah. So, like...
I don't think you get to know all that stuff before you say yes and step into it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot. Yeah.
What's been the most glaring? Like, what is just like smacked you upside the head where you're like, oh my gosh? For me, it was like how important healthy confrontation is with people.
Huge.
That was like mind-blowing to me. Like I assumed most people would just think about things the way I think about things.
Yeah.
But then when you're leading a couple hundred people, you realize, no, not actually at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to understand that confrontation doesn't have to be me against somebody. Instead, it can be like the Holy Spirit gathering people into the same vision he's giving towards a church.
Totally.
Which that was hard for me.
I think to your point, one of the things that I really didn't realize how big of a deal it would be, and I've come to you for counsel multiple times for this, is you sense the weight of, if you think of shepherding, which would be what pastoring is, you sense the weight of protecting sound doctrine, protecting people from being hurt by one another, like you sense the need to protect.
Yes.
But if you're not super careful, that can very easily bleed over into control or to trying to not in a bad motive, but you can accidentally almost step into dominating a situation where it really needs to play out or whatever. But it is your job to protect. Yeah. And at the same time, it's your job to love on and care for people. And sometimes the same people that you're trying to protect really just need to be loved well.
Yeah.
And so you have to walk that balance. I think that's been a big one. And then I'll give you a super practical one.
Yeah.
Preaching week after week is exhausting. I mean, if you're the main teaching pastor of the church, like there's been times I think I've been 7-8 weeks into preaching and I've been like, John, wait, is there anyone who can come teach for a week? Because I think you can also slip into getting, you're trying to teach deep biblical truth week after week after week after week after week. And at some point you're like,
well, it's easy.
I need to just live out what I'm teaching.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to like fall into this fallacy that each sermon has to be better than the last.
Totally.
And it's not true. Really, your responsibility is just to articulate truth.
I heard someone say, not every Sunday can be fine dining.
No.
And it was very freeing for me. Because like you have some messages, you're like, I feel like I hit that out of the park. I was able to articulate what I feel like the Lord was saying through this text and whatever. Yeah. And then you have Sundays you're like, I showed up and I was faithful as I knew how to be.
Publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And like, what's a weird dichotomy is that desire to preach is what draws a lot of people into pastoral ministry.
Sure.
But then also that responsibility of preaching every week crushes people in a crazy way. And you learn like it's on a week-to-week basis, that one thing you have to do for an hour on Sunday causes 80% of your stress throughout the week, but is actually only like 5% of the things that you actually do, which is mind-blowing. And I think a lot of people need to hear this. Like the world doesn't need more like dynamic YouTube preachers. It just needs people to stand in the gap week to week and just give the truth. It doesn't have to be like there's no new revelation to begin with, but it doesn't have to be something nobody's heard every week. You've just got to stand and tell people the truth. And that for me was a huge lift. It felt really relieving to know that.
Yeah, and I think too, like we're talking about taking the pressure off, because it's really fun when you teach a message and you realize you were able to articulate something as long as it's solid biblically, that people are like, I never thought of that. I never realized that. The problem is when you get addicted to that feeling, you very easily start preaching in a dangerous way.
And it is a feeling.
Yeah, because it's awesome. You're like, this was so cool to show something that most people haven't noticed before in the scriptures or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to be very careful with that too, because
it can be unhealthy.
Of course it can be unhealthy. Yeah.
It's so.
This is why it can't be about us.
No.
And I think too, if for any aspiring pastors or preachers, for me, my Monday mornings, usually my Monday morning run is like one of the most important things I do every week.
Yeah.
Because if Sunday was awesome, I celebrate it with the Lord and I give it to Him.
Yeah.
And if Sunday was awkward, or I felt like there was just wonky stuff that happened or whatever, I go for a run and I give it back to the Lord.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's His anyways.
Yeah. And this is also why I think it's so important to build churches that the preaching ministry doesn't rest on just one person.
100%.
And you're newer in a church plant, so you're developing leaders, which is great. But it's been so healthy for me personally to have a team of people I can draw from, where I don't have to to preach every single week of the year. And it's healthy for the church too, because it takes the spotlight off of one person and shares the burden of public preaching with a variety of people, so that everyone is reminded the main attraction, the main person is Jesus.
Yep.
And that's why we're here.
Totally.
So yeah, I do understand that is a huge weight, and it can be a burden. But I think the way you're doing it is, and the way we've done it here, is the way people should strive to build a preaching ministry. It's not just make about one person.
Totally.
But have a plethora of preachers.
One of the things that you and Don said that was really helpful for me, because I would have erred on the opposite side. I would have been like, we started a church, I'll teach once a month, like I'll just be out of the way.
Yeah.
I'll lead worship, you know?
Can't do that either.
No, and that was the thing is, so we have built a small teaching team, which I love.
Yeah.
And there's different seasons. They have other jobs and other things, so they can't always be as ready. And I definitely teach more. But I would have gotten out of the way so quick in the beginning. And both you and Don were like, no, you need to be like the lead voice consistently.
Yep.
But definitely have someone in once or twice a month or whatever you can do to teach, so that the church doesn't only have you as a voice, and so that you have a break. Because there is a lot of other responsibilities to pastoring than just preaching. Like this week for me, I'm teaching something that I have taught, and I know that, so I'm going to accomplish a whole list of things that I usually can't get done in the week, because that's a section of time that I don't usually have.
Yeah. That's so true. It's 1 hour a week that causes 90% of the stress you feel, and the rest of the week you're just doing all these different things so you can funnel your energy back to preparing for that 1 hour, which is it's mind-blowing.
I will say though, with having one person who is generally the lead voice, realizing the health that also brings to the church, because it's not about us.
Yeah.
If you're making it about you, you shouldn't be pastoring or preaching.
That's actually my next question.
Okay.
Tell me the importance though of having a designated leader who their voice is setting the vision and setting the tempo and the culture of the church.
Can I tell a story?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was a part of a home church years back, and I loved it. It was a beautiful season of my life. I was taking a break between being at like a Sunday morning church, if you will.
Right.
And we met on Saturday nights, and it was like anyone would just pick up an instrument, go play, whatever. I loved, honestly, it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. We'd spend hours, 2, 4, 6. One night we spent 8 hours in worship. It was just ridiculous. I loved it. That's and fun. You know me, like that was my jam.
Right.
And anyone would lead anything. And so there was no one, quote unquote, leading, including the guy whose house it was at.
Yeah.
And so a couple things came from that. One, I remember we got asked to lead worship at a youth conference for a Heidi Baker conference that was happening, or we led a youth part of that conference. And so I asked the guy who led the home church, or whose house it was at, I said, hey, who do you want to lead worship? Like, there's 5 or 6 of us who are more than capable. Just decide who you want to lead and we'll all follow.
Right.
And he was like, no one's going to lead. We're just going to do what we do in the living room. And I was like, we'll see how this goes.
Not going to work.
And so sure enough, 5 of us have microphones. We stand up. No one's leading. Now, in a living room, when you're hanging out on a Saturday night, it's beautiful because anyone just picks up a guitar and someone sings a chorus, someone else picks up, someone else puts the guitar down. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
We floundered around for like 30 minutes trying to lead worship with no one leading.
Oh.
Until...
How many people were at the conference?
There was a lot of kids there.
Wow.
And finally, like, multiple of my friends on the team looked at me and were like, can you just, like, lead us somewhere? Yeah. And it didn't matter which one of us it was.
Right.
But I was just like, all right, we're going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then everybody jumped in. So that was one thing, learning, like, that just doesn't work in a setting where you have a gathered group of people. Like, it's actually very biblical to have leadership.
Yeah.
And 2, the other thing that I learned a lot in that season was when things were said, people would all share their revelations and prayer and this and that. And people started sharing really weird off stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was never corrected biblically.
Yeah, there's nobody to say, wait a second.
Yeah.
This is not...
People are just like, oh, it's so cool to hear your heart with those aliens you talked about and encountered. And like, thanks for sharing.
Which is
and
real.
So 100%.
People really say those things.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I look now and like, I absolutely loved that season of my life, but I also look at the outcome for so many of those people's lives, and it's very sad. Yeah. And I've really realized the need to have healthy leadership.
Yeah, and it's not about telling people what to do. It's about keeping people in assimilated in what God's doing, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people will use that idea of like, well, nobody's the leader, thinking that this is the most freedom uh, you can grant people.
Yep.
Well, really, what happens is just the most dynamic personality takes
100%.
control.
Yeah.
And so,
The most charismatic and
yeah,
manipulative personality
exactly.
typically takes control.
You've just given license to the most manipulative person in the group to take control of everybody else.
We've also just described almost every cult
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
taking place.
Yeah. Primary responsibility for a leader is to protect people from being manipulated. And so when there's no leadership, there's just license for manipulation. And I think that's why it's important for people to hear that from somebody who's in the midst of a church plant, is that like it feels really neat and genuine to say, well, we're just going to do this without leadership. But what you're actually saying is, I want somebody malicious to hijack this.
You don't realize you're saying that.
Yeah, you don't realize that, but that's what you're doing. And when you establish your community, there has to be clear communication on who's leading what and who is setting boundaries where. Because if not, those people will come. Usually, and tell me if I'm wrong, the people who are the most manipulative and the most unwilling to be a participant in what God's doing have been kicked out of many different church fellowships and are looking for a new one to start that they can then go and replicate their same behavior. And so if you start a church without clear leadership and clear boundaries, you're just setting it up for those people to hijack.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I remember I had like and I don't know if it was a vision from the Lord, but it was kind of a mental picture.
Yeah.
One time.
An impression.
There was a circumstance, depends on which denomination you're from, on
Yeah.
how you say when God shows you something.
Yeah.
I had a mental picture of almost like a herd of buffalo, which we'll say sheep for Bible context.
Keep it biblical, Chris.
Yeah.
No aliens.
But no aliens. But essentially, I had a picture of a wolf and there was a herd, and realizing that like if we spend so much time focusing on the wolf and the herd, so to speak, gets scattered and separated, and we're not staying focused on unifying the body and staying together in tight unity, that's when people actually get picked off.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to deal with a wolf. Sometimes you have to deal with someone who is actually there to manipulate and cause problems. 100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're so focused on trying to defend from that, you're not actually fighting for the unity of the body, because if the body is healthy, the wolf is a sore thumb.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And it's way harder for that person to come in and manipulate something that's healthy.
Yeah.
But that requires leadership. A shepherd, biblically, like to shepherd is to lay your life down for those that you serve. Right? I always hated the thing where people are like, well, I'm a shepherd and they're the sheep. It's like, nah, bro. First of all, we're all God's
We're
sheep.
all the sheep.
100%. But I've just said yes to laying my life down to serve the people in our community and do everything that I can to protect and to point us in the direction that the Lord is calling us to.
Yeah.
And keep it healthy as I know how to.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So would you say the thing you were most naive about was dealing with people?
Well, 100%.
Yeah. And I knew that would be the answer, because it is for everybody. It's really difficult, especially if you've never led in that capacity before, to learn how to lay your life down while still be firm in boundaries, while still setting vision, while still being patient with people who are catching up. All those things are just, you learn it in process.
I would just add one piece to that. I think one of the biggest things I've learned over the last couple of years is how needed my alone time is with the Lord for me.
Yeah, amen.
Not for the people that I serve. Because it's very easy to let all of the people that you're now serving bleed into your quiet time with the Lord.
Yeah.
When in reality, you need your own time with God to like unwind and be in his presence.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, going back to casting vision, you've got to be connected to the only person whose vision actually matters, which is Jesus. You got to be filled up so you can pour out.
Yep.
So what's it look like for you when you're casting vision for the church? Like, is it primarily preaching from the pulpit? Is it one-on-one with people? Is it writing it out? What does it look like for you?
Yeah, so
All those things?
we're in a fun season of that right now because we're about to make some moves forward as a church this fall.
Yeah.
And so we're really laying a lot of groundwork for that. So at the beginning, it was probably more of, talking to the people that I knew were down to roll with us through planting a church. And then it would be, I guess, more publicly like saying, hey, this is where we're headed. Now, because we have built a team, like we have a core leadership team, and that's continuing to grow. And actually, we're going to grow it more in this coming season.
Incredible.
I feel like a little mouse just doing stuff in the background. All right, stay where you're at now. You are editing this, right?
For the most part.
Okay, sorry. I'll jump right back in where I was.
Yeah.
So now that we're building, we have a core leadership team. It looks like talking to those people or praying through it alone with the Lord, talking through it with Jess, and then bringing those people in and pieces of it. So like, for instance, one of our guys, I just told him how much I hate technology and dealing with tech stuff, and he's great at it.
Yeah.
And him being a leader in our church and knowing that just called me one day and was like, hey, I figured out all the stuff you don't want to figure out. I already can we meet and I'll explain it all to you. I've got it all ready to roll out. I was like, what? Yeah. And so that's a really cool stage because for me, it's kind of always just been me or us figuring everything out.
Yeah.
And so now I've got people in all these different and then one of our other guys is like, hey, I'll step in and lead worship more. Yeah. Someone else is, and so now it's like, wow, this is what it feels like to have a team.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when they plant churches, they go with 15
solo
or 30 people or whatever to plant a church. We didn't do it that way at all. Yeah. And so now I feel like we're really coming into that season. Now it's bringing our leaders in on where we're headed and what we feel like the Lord's leading us into this next season, asking them to add to that and share their...
Yeah, just like when Moses laid hands on the 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I agree. Casting vision works best when you focus on baptizing the core in that vision so that they can also go out and baptize new disciples or disciples in that same vision.
Yeah, and so you move forward as a unified team.
Yeah. Amen.
I think it would be weird if you cast vision without your leaders knowing where you're headed.
It'd be creepy. Yeah.
Well, not only that, they'd feel like,
what the heck, bro?
Yeah, how do we help you with anything? Yeah. How do we support or stand behind this in any way?
Yeah. Okay. What's something you maybe would have done differently previously in casting vision?
In casting vision?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Can you ask it different?
Yeah. What's a time or a way you were casting vision that didn't work well? Did you ever say something publicly that you didn't first tell your team about privately, and what did that look like?
Can I give you an honest answer?
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that.
That's great.
But I think that's because we've had the benefit of, one, I've served in church for so long and watched so many people make a ton of really bad mistakes.
Yeah.
And then two, having people in our lives, like having you, having Don, having like accountability and people that I can go to and be like, hey, this is...
Praise God.
This is what I'm feeling. Yeah. Should I handle this way? Would you do it a different way? I can't think of anything like that I've done, that I've misstepped in that sense. I mean, we've definitely made mistakes, but no, I think we've done okay with that.
Well, since this is the church planting pitfalls, what's a mistake that you wish, I should have done that?
I think giving too much mental headspace to... I gotta be really careful how I say this.
Yeah.
Well, we're still a young church, so there's like certain...
I don't want to sabotage.
We've not been around for 15 years, or I can be like, way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe just giving too much headspace to one person who is in a unique situation. Definitely like be in prayer for those people and whatever. But sometimes like one person can have...
Love that.
One or two people can have too much... room taken up in your head and in your time in prayer.
Because the truth is, you can't solve everybody's problems.
No, and again, sometimes you can focus so much on one or two things and then miss out on the whole of where you're headed.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about that the other day, like how when things pop up and there's difficult things, and yet you're meant to be preaching on something, and because we know, like when you're preaching, for the week, like that's on your mind constantly throughout the week. You're constantly writing, you're constantly thinking through how am I going to articulate this thing. Yet I have these other random issues that pop up that I
Right,
have to
yeah.
deal with.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of be able to like compartmentalize those things.
Yeah. Or at least release them to God and say,
Totally.
I'm going to let you take care of this because I'm at a loss.
Yep.
I think what a lot of people do is when they feel like they're at a loss, they double down and try to do more.
Yeah.
And it actually sabotages everything else that they're involved in.
Yeah.
And so learning to just go, you know what, I can't fix this. And so maybe the best thing I can do is just give this problem some space so the Holy Spirit can do something fresh and I can get out of the way.
Yeah. And just general life advice, not just for pastors, but often when you feel something the most is not the best time to
when
handle.
your emotions are high.
Totally. And so sometimes something happens or someone says something or someone does something or someone critiques something or whatever, and you feel it so much.
Yeah.
And it's like if you could actually just like release it to the Lord and sleep on it, it's the next day you're like, you know what, that wasn't that big of a deal.
How much have you enjoyed having people give you critiques about your messages after you give a message?
You know, I will say I'm really grateful that there's not been too much of that.
Yeah.
I've not had too much of it. Generally, if someone says something, it's usually nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually awesome. Early on, I got a lot. And,
Did you?
Yeah. And it probably was fair.
I think people's expectations of me were so low.
No.
And I would have just led worship, and it's just like, oh, we're fine. We're doing something, you know?
No, and I think a lot of it was probably warranted.
Yeah.
But if you're young, like I am, and you're getting a lot of criticism after your messages,
hard.
It eviscerates you. And so if you're a new minister, it's okay. You'll get better, or those people will, because a lot of it is warranted, but then a lot of it is just people trying to like impose their own like sense of superiority over you. And the quicker you galvanize your heart from the insecurity you feel, the less you abdicate your own authority as a minister.
Can I just say it's never been probably a weirder time to preach, in the sense that if you have any issue with comparison or insecurity,
Oh my gosh.
because one, everybody's got their favorite 10 YouTube preachers, and two, people are sitting in the room chat GPTing the things you're saying to check their accuracy.
Which is actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, it actually is very refining. Like, don't say
is.
something flippantly.
No.
Know what you're talking about.
Do not say anything.
Yeah,
flippantly.
You might have gotten away with that in like some backroom youth group way back in the day, but not anymore. Like, you better know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. If you are insecure about your own ability, it will come out from
100%.
the pulpit, and people will be like, "Ooh, that's kind of weird." So you've got to.
And you will be insecure.
You will be.
I actually, I did have one circumstance where someone pretty consistently commented on my teaching, for good and bad.
Right.
Which in some senses is great.
Yeah.
And I actually had to pull that person aside and say, like, hey, will you actually not give me feedback on my teaching?
Good. How'd that go?
It went well.
At first, were they like, "Well, who do you think you are?"
I think they weren't stoked about it because they wanted to be able to talk about it, and that was enjoyable to them. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. For me, I want to hear from the Lord what our church needs during the week, and I don't want to be thinking about...
Did you ever give that person permission to do so prior? Like, did you say, hey, I want you to...
No.
No, so it wasn't something...
And I will say, though, there's been moments that the feedback was helpful.
Right.
Yeah, I probably could have done that better. Or, thank you. Like, that's really encouraging.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like, I don't want to do that every week.
No.
With someone.
No.
With anyone.
No.
Maybe my wife, if she's up for it, but she isn't jumping in.
But even then, you're still trying to keep your heart open to what God is asking you to say.
It's just very easy to let people's voices bleed into you hearing from the Lord for what you're supposed to be talking about.
It is. And I don't think people understand that. I genuinely am trying to get a fresh word from God every week.
Totally.
And I'm trying to turn off all the peripheral influences, all the outside noise, all the different little critiques or encouragements, right? Because somebody could flatter you, and then that can disrupt your ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that I think people don't really get that part, which if you're not in the church, you won't understand that at all. I sound crazy to somebody in the world.
Yeah.
But even for people in the church, what I'm trying to do is have my heart completely set on what I believe God is saying for me to speak to the people in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're trying to weed through like this circumstance popped up and I'm really tempted to talk about it. But
Yeah.
realistically, is that what the Lord wants for the whole of our church right now?
Yeah.
And is that the best way to address that problem?
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it actually is.
Yeah.
Because I used to hate when like I knew something would happen and then the preacher would preach about it. And I'm like, bro, you could have had a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
But there are times that 5 people are all dealing with the same thing. It's like, I'm just going to teach on this because we as a church seem to need this.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about, and not everybody preaches this way. Some people will just go book by book consistently, no matter what's happening. What we're talking about is, God, I want to hear from you where we're going as a church, what we need to step into from the scriptures. What are you leading us into in this season? What needs addressed in this season?
Yeah.
And so you're trying to hear that through the midst of all of the craziness of the week.
Absolutely. Okay, pivoting, because I think this is important. This might be harder for you to answer because you're growing and you're not stalled out, but there will be seasons where you feel like it's stalled out and it feels like things are not going in certain direction. How do you keep your heart from being concerned about how many people are showing up on a week-to-week basis? Because that is an issue. Like, you might go a year with just 20 people showing up and think, well, this is not worth anything. It's only 20 people are here. Well, the national average of church attendance per church is about 20 people. And so it's not worthless. You're actually doing the work. You're ministering to 20 people. But how do you keep your heart from being overly concerned about how many people are showing up on a week-to-week basis?
For me, that's honestly been a process of dying to those things that I feel like God's brought me through. Real short story in my personal life. I had a watch at a prayer house, which we used to be part of, like a 24/7 kind of prayer house. And so I would do 2 hours.
You're saying you had a shift, because I don't think everybody wants.
It's called a watch. Yeah. So basically, it would be like
a shift.
Watch.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
That was prayer house language now that I think about it. But it was basically like I had 2 hours in the week that I would do, and then other people would fill the other hours. And so I would do Wednesday nights from 10 to midnight. And I decided to take on that commitment in that season, and no one came for like 6 months. But it wasn't meant for anyone to come to. But still, I remember one night being like, God, I drove 30 minutes from my house, set up a sound system, sat here to worship and like lead worship and pray.
Yeah.
And I could do this at home.
Yeah.
Like, this is excessive.
Yeah.
And I remember the Lord spoke to me and said, if you'll give me this time in your life, I'll do in you what I need for where I'm taking you.
Amen.
And what I feel like he really taught me was like, I need you to be okay if a bunch of people are with you and if no one's with you.
Right.
And I need you to be faithful no matter what. And so shortly after that, my wife started singing she was my girlfriend at the time. She started coming. Great dates, by the way, is go sing to Jesus. And so we started singing together. We ended up with like 20, maybe 30 people who would come after their youth groups. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, when we started doing worship nights in the back room of our coffee shop, there were nights that some people came. There were nights that no one came. Yeah. And it was the same thing. It was like, I need you to be okay if there's people or if you're just being faithful.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when we started the church, and like I went into it knowing, and you said to me, actually, you said, look, I just want to be clear. If you move to Sunday mornings and you call this a church officially, I don't care if no one comes for 3 years. You better still be running your Sunday mornings.
Don't give up. Yeah.
Or I think maybe you said 5 people
because
come,
it's
whatever
true.
it was.
Once you say it's a church, all the people who are there because they don't want to be in church are going to disappear.
Yeah. And you cannot base the success of what you're doing on how many people come.
Right.
Because, for instance, we just had probably the most people we've ever had there like a month ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I never count how many people are in our church. That's fine to count, and some of our elders and people do count. I don't purpose to look around the room and count on Sundays. Yeah. But you could sense like, wow, we had to get extra chairs out. Like there was more people than there's ever been. And it was one of those things like, oh, wow, there's like a lot of people here. This is really growing. And then a week or two later, half those people showed up on a Sunday. And it was like,
so church.
Yeah, if you react to what's happening in the influx of people. But that's how our growth has been. It's been like a wave where it's like multiple people start showing up and they would call this church home, but then those people are on vacation, other people are on vacation, so it never really feels like it's growing, but you start realizing it's
Right.
expanding over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's two things I heard in that. Obedience is not based on numbers or success in a worldly sense. Obedience is just being consistent in what you're called to.
Totally.
And then you also have to decide why you're doing what you're doing before you ever do it.
Yeah.
So if I'm planting a church because I want to have 300 people in a church, well, you're going to quit after a year if you only see 30 people, right? Yeah. But if you decide I'm doing this because I'm called to do this and I can't live my life outside of God's call, then whoever shows up is irrelevant. And then maybe the last thing is get married and then the people will come for your wife, if not for you.
I'll add one more layer to it. I think that if you're doing it for numbers of people, you will almost undoubtedly fall into the fear of man.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll start caving and catering to get the people to stay, to do what the people want you to do. And like, it's not going to work out well.
Yeah.
If you're actually there to host God's presence, to be faithful to the word of God, to teach, then the people who are meant to be there with you are going to be there with you.
Absolutely.
And those are the people you're actually called to serve. When you start catering to other people, you've really just thrown a grenade in the church.
Yeah. Yeah. Shifting gears again. It's a great answer. So you've planted a church on a mountain in the Bible Belt.
Plateau. Yeah.
Yeah, in the plateau. Surrounded by mostly Baptist churches, independent, missionary, Southern Baptist.
Methodist.
There's Methodists up there?
Mm-hmm. Baptist,
like
Methodist.
Actual UMC Methodists?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool. So that's a lot of denominational churches around you. Lots of Church of Christ, I would assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
LDS. Which way you want to go?
Yeah. All the denoms. They're all up there. And that's great. Praise God. Did you feel...
Last one's a little sketchy.
Yeah. Did you feel like your church plant in that community was welcomed with open, loving arms, or did you feel like it was a grind in the community?
Both.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Yeah. We really fight for unity among the churches,
which I love. You do that well.
So we host like a pastor's breakfast, and we invite all the senior pastors, not because they're more important or anything. We're just trying to build a relationship with a real core group of pastors in our town. And so we have a pretty solid group of pastors who come together. We celebrate what God is doing in each other's churches. Right. We've recommended each other's churches when we've had people who didn't seem to fit in our group, and we're there for each other. We support each other. We help each other with events, with whatever. I mean, I remember one of the pastors saying, "Hey, we don't have enough kids church team for this event we're doing. Do you guys have anyone?" I'm like, "Hey guys, can you go?" It's been amazing.
Did you also, because that's great, and I've been to some of those meetings and they're awesome. Did you also receive any unwarranted scrutiny or criticism from the community?
Yeah, behind our back.
Yeah.
that was my second part of that. Yeah.
Great.
But not as bad. It's not been as bad, at least to what I know, as I expected it could have been.
Yeah, and we've experienced that too. We've had, because we're charismatic, non-denom, and so many different red flags go up in people's minds that, again, are unwarranted.
Yeah.
But it's real. And I think it's worth talking about, because if you're going to plant a charismatic church, especially in a small town, you should be prepared for there to be some sort of unexplainable, unwarranted criticism or resistance to what you're doing by the community.
So
that's okay.
And I'll just put some color in that for anyone who's not used to that language, which people watching this probably are. But when we say charismatic, essentially we mean like continuationists. We believe the gifts of the Spirit are still in operation.
Right. Thank you.
We believe the Bible is livable.
Yeah.
So I often say charismatic, not charismania, meaning like we don't do wild, crazy stuff just to say we had a fun service. Like for us, what we mean is just we believe the Bible's livable.
Yeah.
And we believe that
I love that
God speaks to us and we can share his voice with other people in humility and love.
Yeah.
And so that in itself is offensive to people.
Right.
Which is wild to me. And in fact, one of my good friends, I just listened to one of my good friends basically preach against everything that we believe
Yeah,
as
he's a
far as
cessationist.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, but great friend of mine.
yeah, and he loves Jesus.
Loves Jesus. We just don't share the same views. However, we do life in unity and we walk together.
Yeah,
But we have very different views on things.
yeah. So that pressure is real,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be overwhelming at times. How do you keep your heart from being overwhelmed by that and continue in the call regardless of whatever pushback or resistance? Because you're there to bless that community,
100%.
and you have in many ways, whether they're noticed or unnoticed. But at the same time, and maybe this is akin to something that we've read in the Gospels before, as you're blessing these people, portions of the community are pushing against you. And I think it's important to be honest about it, not try to shy away from it, but also talk about how you process in your head and in your heart so that you can press forward regardless.
This is really fresh for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to try to answer really honestly and carefully.
Yeah. I know what I do. I'll piggyback off of you. You tell me some things that you do.
One, we have to fear God more than we fear man.
Yeah.
Two, you need to know what you're signing up for.
Yeah. Amen.
We owned businesses in our town. We have gotten to serve our community in many different ways. And when we stepped into this season, we knew that in some ways it was kind of putting like a bullseye on our back of like, oh, a lot of the people who celebrated us and just loved us as coffee shop owners and whatever else, because we believe that God speaks to us.
Yeah.
Because we believe that we can pray in the Spirit, because, whatever, name your thing. That's probably going to change. And that's okay. And I think there's two ways to go about that. One is, I'm just going to go out and be who we're, and that's just not who we are.
Yeah.
Nor should you be that way.
You don't want to be arrogant.
No.
And prideful.
And I think when we come out of the gate thinking that we know better than everybody, that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
But I think when you humbly go, hey, we're just going to try to live to the truth of the scriptures the best we know how, admit when we're wrong, and love people well. I say this is fresh for me because Jess and I talked about this last night because of some stuff that popped up in our town. Yeah.
You guys talked about this last night?
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
And Jess, as she brilliantly with her little one-liners, just said, babe, let's just pray that we're known by our love.
And that's why your wife is brilliant.
She's just the best.
So in tune to the Holy Spirit.
Just the best.
Yeah, those are great answers. So it is real, and it's uncontrollable. It's something you're not going to be able to like. I mean, the people Jesus came to die for, crucified him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just part of the call of laying your life down. And for me, the quicker I realized I can't control what's being said about me, the quicker I was able to let go of that, and then center myself in the truth of my identity in Jesus. And so for me now, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of fun. Like, how crazy can people make me out to be? And when I hear a new, like, well, they drink bat's blood, or like, they're whatever crazy thing people are saying, it makes me laugh now because I know who I am, and I'm not actually worried as I was maybe 5 years ago about what the people I'm serving are saying about me. I'm centered in what God is saying about me and what Jesus has declared over me. But in the beginning, it was really hard because it's like, I'm here to bless, and you're trying to say all these things about me and make up not stories about me that are not true, and the way that impacts your family is very unique, and you can allow that to cause bitterness and resentment in your heart,
or just hurt.
Yeah,
which obviously leads to bitterness and resentment, but even just the hurt part of it, where you could just sit and being like hurt that you're misunderstood
in a pity party or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's real. You can really do that, and I've watched people do that, and the problem with that is it is so toxic to the ministry, but feels so good to the flesh. It feels so good, and so you like puff yourself up because you're being beat down thinking this will protect me, but you're actually tearing the ministry apart in doing that because you're focused on you, not what God's calling you to do. So anyways, just being honest about it and going, you know what? Not everyone has to like me.
No, I think I heard someone say the other day, and it's literally what you just said, but it hit me in a more direct way than ever. And they just said, just the sooner that you can accept that not everyone is going to like you, the better off you're going to be.
100%. And it's totally okay.
And it says it in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is totally okay to not be liked by everybody.
Yeah.
It's totally okay that there might be somebody saying something about you that's untrue and that somebody might hear that and go, really?
Yeah.
It's totally okay. It's not a big deal. God will still do what he wants to do through you. And I know this because we run a business in town. It's successful. Our kids are successful in what they want to do in the schools. All these things still are accomplished despite there might be a rumor out there that I drink bat blood or, whatever. I bathe in goat's milk or whatever crazy things people want to say.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay. The only way it becomes not okay is if I start making decisions or leading based on that.
Totally.
If I start swatting at every fly that tries to buzz around my head, then my energy is depleted swatting flies rather than moving the church into what God is calling it to be.
And I think one of the things that I love most observing the life of Jesus is often before, I would say always, but I don't know that it was always, but often before he would minister or speak publicly and after, he would retreat and get alone with the Lord, with the Father.
Right.
And I think that's such a vital part of doing what we do. Just whatever you do. If you work at Walgreens, you should know how to get alone with the Lord. It doesn't matter if it's, but I think especially as a pastor, to be able to get away with the Father and just say, who do you say that I am? And if I can hear that, I'm good with whatever else happens. 100%. It's okay if the rest of the world hates me, if they hate me.
100%. So there's three things about Jesus' ministry that people often overlook. The night he was betrayed, when he was being spit on and hit and interrogated before the Sanhedrin, he didn't answer any of the questions, right? So there they are accusing him, saying all sorts of wild nonsense about him, and he takes zero time answering any of their questions because it doesn't serve the purpose of where he's going.
Yeah.
Right? And then number two, when the Pharisees or the religious scribes asked Jesus questions in his day-to-day ministry, he rarely, maybe 2 times, where he gave a direct answer to what they asked.
Yep.
3 times where he gives a direct answer to the questions they asked. What he always did was he flipped their question, which was usually an accusation towards him, back on them and asked them another question.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to realize that, if they did it to Jesus, they'll probably do it to you if you're going to represent Jesus well. And if Jesus didn't spend time trying to swat every fly, you probably should not either.
I think it's really important to recognize when you have a moment with a Nicodemus or someone whose heart is actually open.
100%.
And to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And when you have people who are trying to trick you, trap you, accuse you, and Jesus didn't waste time with that.
Or prove you wrong.
Yeah. Jesus didn't buy into that ever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you have people who genuinely want to understand, then we want to answer the best we can answer questions.
Yeah. And even then, I love how Jesus, because Nicodemus was still completely wrapped up in his position. That's why he did it at night. And Jesus kind of tongue-in-cheek, aren't you supposed to be the main teacher of all of Israel and you don't even know these things? Kind of prying back at Nicodemus, you can be afraid of what people think about you, and that's fine. You're free to do that.
Yeah.
Or you can surrender to truth and live your life from that place. So, it's real. Chris, you're an amazing pastor. And if I was not pastoring this church, I would probably go to your church. I don't know if that was really what I meant to say, but in some way I would yield myself to your pastoral leadership if I was not pastoring you.
So funny.
But such is life, and the roles are reversed. But I really appreciate you. I appreciate you, Baby Mouse, back there. You've been great. This has been really fun. I think it's going to bless a lot of people. And I really want to thank you for being so authentic in what you're called to do.
Likewise.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you guys so much for your leadership.
Oh, thank you. Any parting thoughts, retractable strings that you want to throw out there before we shut this down?
I would say that if God's called you to pastor, whatever God's called you to in your life,
Yeah.
let the seed die when it needs to die.
Yeah.
Submit your life to the process.
Yeah.
And then say yes again when he asks you to step into it.
That's great. I love that. All right, final question. What's better, Pepsi or Coke?
Neither.
What?
Sparkling water. I don't drink soda.
That's the wrong answer.
Coffee is better than all of it.
Okay, let's try this.
Water, coffee, sparkling water is all I drink.
Costco's or Sam's Club? There's only one answer.
I would say Costco,
Yes.
except for it's too far away, so I don't go anymore.
It's always Costco.
Yeah.
And so whoever the powers are in this area.
Honestly, I would say shop local. I'm just going to sound more and more crunchy.
What's wrong with you? All right, love you.